Okay, so welcome to the number grid. I'm going to open up the number grid from my playground. Right here, the number grid map. And the goal is to get the robot to kind of zigzag its way. And you can look at the activity to see the path, but zigzag its way, I believe, to the number 45. Yep, you'll see there's more numbers in this grid than in the activity, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use variables. So just like in a math class, a variable is like a letter, or it could be a word that I'm going to assign a number, and it can be a changing number. So I'm going to go to my variables screen, and there's a little block that says make a variable. I'm going to click it. You can give a variable any name. It can be a letter or a full name. In the activity, it says call it index. I don't like that word. I'm going to call it cat, just like that. You'll see that variable appear up here. The first thing I want to do is I want to set my cat variable to be equal to the number 0, because it's going to end up counting every time I loop through and do one movement, because if you notice, the zigzag movement is a repetition. So each one of those repetitions is going to add a number to my variable that I've named cat. Okay. So right after it sets that cat to 0, I'm going to start a loop. I'm going to use a while C bracket. I could do this with a repeat, but I'm just trying something a little different. So while, and I want to look at this variable, because I want this stuff to always, I want to continue to zigzag while my cat variable is less than the number of times I want it to zigzag to get to 45. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4 zigzags will get me to the number 45. So if I go back to my variables, nope, I apologize. I'm going to go to my operators. This is like my mathematical operations. And I'm looking for a greater than, less than. In this case, I want to continue this loop while, and I'm going to drop this one right here, while my variable is less than 4. So my variable is down here. It's called cat. I'm going to drag it into this little circle here and drop it. So think about what's happening here. Everything that's going to be in this little C bracket, which will be my instructions to get it to just do one zig of the zag, is going to happen while the cat variable is less than 4. Okay. So what is a zigzag? Well, currently the robot is facing forward, so it's going to need to turn right by 90 degrees. So that's got to happen. While it's turned right, it's going to have to move forward by 200 millimeters, because that's, from previous activities, that's the width of one square. I should probably stop driving before turning left to face forward. That's the proper way to do things. So I stopped my driving, and then I'm going to turn left for 90 degrees. Make sure I flip that to left. Then I'm going to drive forward again for 200 millimeters, sorry. And then I'm going to stop driving. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 commands is really just going to get it to move really through 3 squares and stop. So it's like a zigzag, if you will. And it'll be at square 12 when it's done. So it'll whip through this one part of the loop. But when it's done at the bottom here, what I want to happen is I want it to change the variable, which is currently at 0. I want it to do a mathematical operation and add 1 to this variable, so that when it whips through this again, it looks at the variable and it'll be equal to 1. So I can do that. Under variables, you'll see this change cat by 1. So you'll notice that it does that every time it loops through. Whatever the current value of cat is, it's going to add 1 to it. Okay? So that when it comes back through this top, it's going to look at the value, and as long as it's less than 4, it's going to do this again. If this is not true, If it's not less than 4, then it's going to come out of this bracket and move on, in which case I want it to stop driving and end my program. Okay? Oops, end is over here, or stop program, same thing. Let's see what happens. So there's 1 cycle, there's 2 cycles, there's 3 cycles, and then there's 4 cycles. And sure enough, it hopped out of my C bracket here because it realized that cat was less than 4, so it wouldn't allow it to go into this C bracket. Something else I think we should do just to kind of make it a little more visually appealing is to maybe drop the pen down so that we can see its path. Might as well. So we want to kind of do that throughout the entire duration, so there's no sense in putting it inside the bracket. We might as well put it on the outside of the bracket. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop down the pen. So we'll go to looks. First we should set pen color. We could do that first. Set pen color to black. And then we're going to move pen down. We can really pick any color, it doesn't matter. I'll do black. And then when we're done with the program, maybe we'll move the pen back up. And that'll be on this end. Let's refresh, see what happens. And there's my pen showing me the path. So don't think anything else will not work because I already know it's going to follow that path. So there we go. Now, the reason why this is beneficial is that very easily, all I got to do is, let's say I wanted it to run further, I don't have to really add anything. I could just change this number to, let's say, 6. And very easily, I've just modified my program, and now that robot can walk much further along the line. And I didn't have to add any code. I just had to change 1 variable. So this is great for manufacturing. If you're doing a repetitive task that needs to be quickly changed, I don't have to go in and do any crazy changes in coding. I can just change 1 variable. The other thing is what if I wanted it to move 3 squares, or I'm sorry, 2 squares? I could very easily just come in and change that number to 400. And that's a quick modification. Of course, I don't want to go off the grid, so I better maybe change that number to a smaller number. And now I can accomplish the same task, and I just scaled it to be a little bit bigger. So that's the advantage of doing something like this and programming it in such a way that it's easy to use, easy to manipulate, and change. Thanks for watching.